Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 on Kentucky Derby. Saturday is the Grade 2 American Turf Stakes for 3-year-olds. Let's take a peek at this field. It's a big field. It should be a good betting race. Mike, the X factor in this race is the number 3. 3 and 4 pence. Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien, 4-1 on the morning line. This horse took the field into the lane in the 32 Red Patent Stakes 2 starts back. Was overwhelmed by Mendelssohn in the stretch, only beaten 3/4 of a length. We saw what Mendelssohn came back to do in the UAE Derby. We'll be seeing Mendelssohn later Saturday afternoon in the Kentucky Derby. This horse did not handle dirt at all last time out. But is he a synthetic horse? Is he a turf horse? Is he a sprinter? Is he a router? At 4-1, I don't want to find out.
He's probably a turf horse. I wouldn't be too hard on him for that most recent start. Obviously, I think just put a line through that one. He has a very, popular name in his PPs for his last 3 running lines. And so I guess that more than anything else maybe makes him the morning line favorite in here. I don't know. His turf races to me are okay. I suppose there's a real chance he could take a big step forward here, making his first turf start as a 3-year-old. I think that is certainly possible. I'm with you. As the favorite in this race, I probably want somebody else, but I won't be surprised if he does pretty well here.
The 12 is Rushing Fall. This is the undefeated filly trained by Chad Brown, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, winner of the Appalachian in her seasonal debut. Chad has her cross-entered on Friday against the fillies. It seems likely she will run there, but if she is rerouted to this spot, she fits.
Yeah, she does. Her races are all good. It sounds like she's not going to run in this race. If she does, I'm betting somebody else.
Untamed Domain was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. He had a really nice 2-year-old campaign on the grass, and he came back with a 3rd in the Dania Beach, a race in which they basically ran 1-2 around the track. I thought it was an okay effort. I have to admit I was a little bit disappointed. I understand why they tried the dirt in the Tampa Bay Derby. He is not a dirt horse. He has no dirt pedigree. You give him some pace, he'll come running late.
Yeah, I think that this is a really good spot for this horse. I'm with you. I understand why they ran him in the Tampa Bay Derby. I don't care about that race. I thought his Dania Beach, for what it was, I thought it was fine because it feels like all it was a starting off point for a horse making his 3-year-old debut. And I thought he ran fine in that race, and I think he will take a step forward in this race. It seems like there's enough pace in here to set him up. I think this is a horse you almost have to use somewhere.
Good segue for the Timeform US pace projector. Timeform US agrees with Mike, as you see with that red bar. We are expecting a fast pace in this big field, likely to be set by the number 1 Speed Franco, who just missed in the Palm Beach to Murad, who we'll get to in a little bit. Let's talk about his Cutler Bay, where he was prompting the pace on the outside under a very confident ride. He made the lead turning into the stretch, and then a nice horse from Christophe Clement ran him down, Therapist. That being said, I think it's going to be a tougher situation for him if this pace projector plays out, and I kind of like him at slightly shorter distances.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. Therapist, I guess he's okay. He just keeps winning races. For Clement, this horse, I actually think he's pretty good, and I like him. But the pace scenario for this race probably works against him. And at the end of the day, his last 2 starts, he didn't run poorly in either of them. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's no real excuses for him. He just came out second best in both of them.
Let's get to Murad, who ran him down in the Palm Beach after pressing him throughout. He came back in the Transylvania at Keeneland most recently. The Transylvania, a very common race, horses coming out of into this spot. Did he not like the yielding course that day? Because it looked like he got some pace. He started to make a little bit of a run, and then he flattened out. Maybe he just didn't like Keeneland. Maybe he didn't like a yielding turf course. You're not betting him off that race. You're betting him off the Palm Beach. What did you think of that performance?
I thought his Palm Beach was fine. I thought he got a good trip in that race. I love the ride that Johnny V gave him because he knew that Speed Franco was the horse to beat, and he kept that horse in his sights the entire way, was able to close him down at the end. To me, I'm just not interested in this race. He's 6-1 on the morning line. I don't think that's a very good price on this horse. I thought all in all his Transylvania trip was actually pretty good. That pace was fast for considering the course condition in that race, and his trip was good, and he just got outfinished at the end. I don't want this horse as one of the favorites.
The horse that finished ahead of 4 of the other common rivals in the Transylvania, the 9 Captivating Moon, 6-1 on the morning line, and you can argue this horse really took advantage of that fast pace up front. He hung back near the back, split horses with a 3-wide bid on the far turn, and then hopped back to his left lead late. You've always been a little bit of a fan of this horse. He's going to get another fast-paced scenario, but what did you think of the Transylvania overall? I mean, he was beaten by one of the better 3-year-olds on any surface. He ran well. Yeah,
he ran well in that race. The setup, as you pointed out, worked really well for him. The pace was fast. He was never going to beat Analyze It anyway. He was game to just get up for second in there, but I liked the race that he ran. I mean, I just happen to think he's a pretty good horse, and I see all the ways that this race really fits him with his running style. He's just another horse. He feels like a relatively short price on the line, and maybe I just want to start looking elsewhere in a race like this, because I think it's a little bit more wide open.
Admiralty Pier finished third in the Transylvania. It was his first start of the year. This is a horse that's done some nice work on the synthetic surface up in Canada as a 2-year-old. Another horse that might have been aided a little bit by the fast-paced up front. This is a tough post. I think this horse has a little bit of ability, though.
I do, too. I think he's a talented horse. I wish he had a better post in this race. The thing that really worries me more than anything else about him is I don't really feel like he wants to go that far. I feel like he's ultimately going to be better going shorter distances, but this horse can run a little bit. He's probably going to be a fair price in this race.
Do you upgrade Dragon Drew's Transylvania simply because he was so close to the pace? I mean, there was just a runaway horse that opened up about 6 lengths. Dragon Drew was in chase mode. He eventually took over the lead and was immediately confronted by the favorite Analyze It. All things considering, not a bad effort to finish 4th. Unfortunately, the pace projector thinks it's not going to get easier.
Yeah, true enough. As opposed, the thing that you like about him, though, as opposed to Speed Franco, who's one of the favorites on the morning line, this horse 20-1 on the morning line. We'll see how they bet it. I liked his race last time. I thought it was an underrated performance for him. His 2 races before that at Fairgrounds, they weren't against, you know, top-class horses, but I thought he ran well in both of those races. I'm going to use this horse somewhere.
Arawak was used up on the pace in the Bluegrass. He probably didn't belong in that race anyway. You understand why he took a shot after getting some meager points in the Jeff Ruby Stakes on a synthetic surface. He seems like a synthetic turf horse, but more like a synthetic horse at this point. The good news is he gets pace.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with his turf going forward, if they're going to keep him on turf, because his turf races to me aren't, you know, terrible. I thought the race at Kentucky Downs last September was a pretty good try for this horse. He was never going to win that race, but he really tried to win that. The Keeneland race over soft turf, he just got way too rank and headstrong in that race. It looked like he was a real difficult ride. If he can settle and maybe work out some kind of a trip in here, I feel like he's, you know, one of the bigger prices in this race. He could maybe get a piece. It's going to be hard for him to win. He can get a piece of this race.
Tiger's Rule exits the Transylvania as well, hung back near the tail end of the field, got some pace and just really didn't fire, but maybe didn't handle the course condition.
It'll be interesting to see what this horse does, because it feels like he's, if nothing else, he's headed the right way. He's really improving. The Transylvania, yes, the pace was fast. He was last early, and he saved all the ground. But Rosario tried to split horses in the upper stretch. He got sandwiched up there. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's almost remarkable that this horse didn't go down in that race. He stayed up. He ran to the finish. I don't know. Everything else worked perfectly for him, but I think he ran okay last time.
Channel Cat goes out for trainer Todd Pletcher. He also was helped by a fast pace in his most recent start at Gulfstream. If you believe the Timeform U.S. pace projector color-coded red for that race, he was 3-5, but the race has come back fairly live. The runner-up won the Woodhaven Stakes at Aqueduct with the 78 buyer. The third-place horse came back to buyer 81. This horse is slowly improving, but I haven't seen that explosive improvement that makes me think a big forward move is coming on Saturday.
I agree. I want to like him more than I did because he's going to be a price, and maybe his running style fits the race very well, but I just don't really like any of his races so far. And I get that Sandancer came back to win a stake at Belmont, but that was, you know, one of the worst fields you'll ever see for a turf stakes race in New York.
Point du Gard won last time out. He was supposed to win against fellow Louisiana breds at 1-2 that day. He got it done. He is cross-entered on Friday in a very salty optional claimer against older horses. In either spot, he's a big price. Yeah,
he's a big price in this race if he runs.
Let's talk about the 2 horses coming from Southern California as we throw our top picks up. We'll talk about Inscom first, 15-1 on the morning line. He was beaten by River Boyne in the Pasadena. This horse's turf races are fine. He has a nice tactical gear. I see no reason why Joel Rosario can't work out a good ground-saving pace-tracking trip.
Yeah, I think all those things are true. Yet it's funny, if you go back and just watch the replay of the Pasadena, you almost have to take River Boyne. Considering the trips that these 2 horses got in that race, you almost have to take the other horse. But the game's never that easy, Dan. This horse, he can get a really good trip in this race, and he's pretty good in his own right.
River Boyne, though, has been very good for trainer Jeff Mullins, who's done some excellent work with turf horses like It's in the Post. He's reeled off 3 in a row, and in that Pasadena, he swung 5 wide turning into the stretch. And I just love the way he steamrolled that field in the lane. He handles good ground, which could be a little bit of a factor on Saturday. The distance hits him right between the eye. The pace just seems to be right into his hands. Usually, we're a little bit skeptical of these West Coast turf horses when they come east. I think River Boyne, though, ticks a lot of boxes, and 5-1 seems fair.
Yeah, it really does. We'll see how they bet the race. I mean, each of his last 3 races, just the stretch runs alone that this horse has put in, it just makes me feel like he's a really good horse, and I'm taking him in here. Again, the race is never that easy. It feels like there's a lot of things pointing you to this horse, but I think this horse is good.
River Boyne's going to be Mike's top pick. He's going 6, 13, 7, and 9. I'm going 6, 3, 1, and 14 in the Grade 2 American Turf. Race number 9 at Churchill Downs on Derby Day Saturday is an approximate post time of 3:37 Eastern. Good luck.